Very good morning to everyone who's present here. Thank you so much for taking your time to come here and make this event a very good one. So myself, Sarath, I'm from Site24x7. It is a part of ManageEngine and a division of Zoho Corporation. Today, we'll be talking about unleashing the power of full stack monitoring in a Kubernetes environment. To begin with, so most of us who are here, or you have been following how the Kubernetes growth has been, the K8 environment has been, what the market share has been. So I have a couple of graphs here which I have taken from the market research analysis. So we are able to see that in 2022 from 1.8 billion. Now, in 2030, in the near future, it's going to be around 7.8 billion as US dollars is what the Kubernetes market is going to grow to. So over 50% of Fortune 500 companies have already embraced the K8 environment, Kubernetes environment, and also SMBs are also having a fair share of it. They have around 78% of the companies have already embraced Kubernetes environment. Along with which, so right now we have around 92% of the total market share, and 2.5 commits have been made in GitHub already. So here you'll be able to see not very long back we used to be stuck with monolithic architecture where we'll be having an application hosted on one server. And this single host will need to be, we'll be monitoring it. But however, it has been a very huge challenge for all of us to, keep it running in a single host. So if something goes wrong, the entire host needs to be, looked into. And there was a high downtime, and we had to put in more effort to keep the system running. Later, we moved to microservices where different resources can be run in different services, microservices. So you'll have the freedom to go ahead and work on particular microservice if something goes wrong. But however, now we have moved to Kubernetes environment where we will have the control plane in the master node and you'll have the worker nodes. If something goes wrong, we have the automatic respawn mechanism, which will be very helpful for us to keep the entire system running. So we'll be able to cater to any of our end customers and we'll be able to keep the performance going. What are the benefits of containers and in the Kubernetes environment is that it'll be the portability, scalability, and we'll be able to push updates if required. We can use the same image to spawn any new amount of pods or nodes. It'll be self-balancing and also self-healing, which is the most important. Now, even though embracing Kubernetes will help us solve the known issues that we had in the past, but it is still a challenge for us to solve the issues which are yet unknown. So everything has its own pros and cons, right? So the challenges created by Kubernetes is that the very short span of running time that Kubernetes resource has. So it runs, if something fails, it respawns automatically, even though you have the event logs, but it's still kind of hard for any engineer to troubleshoot the issues that happen in a Kubernetes environment. If you consider any large infrastructure, so for example, in the second or third slide, we were talking about how Fortune 500 companies have started using Kubernetes. So if in such an environment with a huge production infrastructure on UAT infrastructure, so the amount of data that is being populated and collected is way huge. So all these data will be in an unprocessed manner. We will not be able to easily understand what's going on. So that is where we have to make it process the data and make it easily consumable. Monitoring for the Kubernetes is that, as we saw already, when it comes to monolithic architecture, it was very simple. yet very problematic. So we had the application, the host or server in which it was deployed. So these are the two things that we have to monitor. It's more of the known knowns that we have to monitor, like CPU utilization, memory, etc., whatever the key attributes that we had. But now, in cloud native architecture, so there are a lot of things that we have to consider. So that is where observability steps in. So you'll have a lot of known unknowns, unknown unknowns as well. So you'll have to monitor, the host by default, the entire K8 platform needs to be monitored, the containers, microservices, and apart from this, the traces and everything, so whatever API calls is being made, everything needs to be monitored for the full entire ecosystem to be sustainable. Here we have the different monitoring strategies that we would suggest. So the node level monitoring, pod level, container level monitoring. So to begin with, it will be cluster level, master node level, pod or container level. The application deployed in any of these can be monitored, and the logging, tracing, and using which we can go for the alerting. Here in Kubernetes monitoring, what any monitoring tool or observability tool, most probably, what at Site24x7 we have to offer is that pod deployment status. So a pod deployment is successful, or if it was a failure, so how many times the pod is restarting within a given time frame, and you will also be able to see which DevOps engineer is performing particular action, who is respawning a pod, or which service is respawning a pod, and who is killing it. You can also go for the node and pod count trend. So it will be very helpful for you how many nodes is being spawned, how many pods are being spawned, how many are getting killed. So all this information will be very helpful for you. Moving on to Site24x7 for Kubernetes. In Site24x7, we have the cluster dashboard. In the cluster dashboard, so it will be very easy for you to go ahead and identify the entire ecosystem. So all you have to do is deploy a YAML file, and you'll be able to see the number of nodes, jobs, pods, services, daemon sets, stateful sets, deployments, and containers that are running. So you'll have the entire ecosystem in a single page where you'll have all the information that you're looking for. And this is the node level dashboard. So here you'll have a collective, all the nodes, including a collective information of all the resources that are running, the total CPU consumed, memory consumed, all the important key attributes that you might be looking for in a single page. As we already mentioned, so we'll be generating a lot of logs. There will be a lot of events that are happening in your environment. How these events can be tracked, how it can be useful for us to troubleshoot a particular issue is what we're going to look at. So we do have logs that we collect from Kubernetes. So this Kubernetes events can be drilled down, and you can go ahead and troubleshoot any issues that you might face in your environment. This is application performance monitoring using traces. So here you'll be able to see the distributed tracing, end-to-end tracing. So we have summary, trace details, SQL statements, importantly stack trace, and exceptions. So here we have the exception stack trace. So using this page, it will be very helpful for you to troubleshoot whichever incidents that are happening in your Kubernetes infrastructure or Kubernetes environment. And most importantly, the application logs once again. So when it comes to logs, right, so we have been having a lot of data lying around, and this data, most data needs to be consumed by a specific set of users. So you need not give access to all users for all data. So using Site24x7, you'll be able to give access to a particular set of users. It is more of a centralized dashboard. So you can bring all the users to the dashboard rather than navigating them to the individual server or to the infra. So using Site24x7 portal itself, they will be able to troubleshoot, they will be able to find out what went wrong, how it went wrong, and where it went wrong. For any RCA purpose, this is the only single place that they need to log in and check. And since it's a cloud platform, they can do it from anywhere, any part of the globe. What other solutions that Site24x7 has to offer is that we have website monitoring, we have server and entire infrastructure monitoring, server monitoring, cloud network. So we have application performance monitoring. We have real user monitoring, synthetic monitoring, log management, and AIOps. So we are currently we have a lot of we have our own AI tool which is called as Zia. So entire Zoho corporation uses Zia. So it's an AI tool using which we will be able to give you predictions. We'll be able to throw alerts for you. If you need, we'll be able to perform IT automations. So even before an incident happens, we will be able to get it corrected for you. So we have around 13,000 customers across globe for Site24x7 alone. So these are some of our customers, like who are using the product in a larger scale. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any other questions related to Site24x7 or based on this presentation, you can always step out to our booth. And we have a bright yellow colored one. So you can anytime come and you can, we can connect personally. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time.
Much, Sarath, for this insightful presentation. Please be on the stage. Now I welcome Kapil to give away the memento. Please have a huge round of applause for Sarath.